Live with CDP Sports Talk, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and TuneIn. Now, here's your host, Chris Palme.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Season 8, Episode 21, overall 406 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out barrycullen.com for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, or give them a call at 519-824-0210, or email them at info@barrycullen.com. As always, Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show is on weeknights, Monday to Friday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern on radio station WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, the home of Southern Talk and Sports. I hope everyone's doing well today on this, I can't believe it's already Tuesday, June 18th, 2024. It's middle of a heat wave here in Ontario, about 32. And I'm looking forward to talking to my guest today. This is his second time on Live with CDP Sports Talk, and he's with the Toronto Argonauts. His name is Sean Bowen. He's the in-game host at BMO Field along with Alicia West, and he's also a content creator, producer. He wears many hats, literally, with Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, and he's also does some producer work for the Maple Leafs at Scotiabank Arena. And I'm going to bring on my guest, Sean Bowen from the Toronto Argonauts. Good afternoon, Sean. How you doing?
Good, CDP. How you doing, buddy?
Good. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Anytime, my guy. Anytime.
Hey, I got to quickly ask you, how did the Andrew Harris movie, the premiere of Running Back Relentless, went on Friday night?
It was great. A great turnout. Lots of current members of the team, former teammates as well. Lots of folks in the media, TSN, Sportsnet. So it was great. The documentary, shout out to Taylor Prestige, who put that together along with Justin Dunk and Andrew. It really kind of it peeled the curtain back on what Andrew has gone through in his life to achieve the goals that he has. And I can say this, he's arguably one of the nicest guys I think I've come across in the Canadian Football League. Very understanding of people's times, extremely approachable. Always did stuff with us, even though how stupid it was we asked him to do it. He was always willing to go that extra mile and help us out. But the documentary was great. Really fascinating to kind of learn some stuff that I didn't know about Andrew, and what he went through as a child, and as a late teen, trying to make a name for himself in professional football. So it was really, really cool. And honestly, looking forward to watching again. I think it's coming out on Amazon Prime, if I'm not mistaken, here in the next couple of days. So.
Okay, Amazon Prime, and then eventually TSN possibly later on.
That I'm not too sure about.
Okay.
We didn't have a hand in putting that one together, but it was nice watching it.
Okay, I'll definitely look into it. Andrew Harris helped out with the Argonauts at training camp at Guelph too, I guess.
Yeah, he's been down there. I think he's from Winnipeg, right? So he's if you want to call that Western Canada, or just maybe kind of almost smack dab in the middle, but. I think he's relocated to London, Ontario now. So he was helping out the team at training camp, just kind of being an extra set of eyes and ears. And I don't know what his involvement will be with the team moving forward, but I mean, knowing him, I would expect to see him either down at BMO, and or at some practice days in the near future, just kind of coming into lend a hand.
So, what did you guys think about having a bye week already in week 2 after the Argos 35-27 comeback win over the BC Lions?
A lot better than having it in week 1, I'll tell you that. It's tough, man, because I know some of the guys actually prefer it, like having that week 1 bye, because training camp is a grind. I mean, you're there for 3.5 weeks, close to a month, depending if you're a rookie coming in and having an opportunity to make the team. But it's, you're away from your family for an extended period of time. You're not in your home. You're not sleeping in your bed. So I can see why it is enticing for some teams to have it week one just to rest up and hit the ground running. But it was, in my opinion, it was nice to have that first, that game one, week one, as opposed to that bye. But nice to have some time off last week and excited to hit the ground running here this weekend against some former running mates of the Argos, right? So it should be fun.
Absolutely. And that BC Lion game, that was just back and forth. And what I liked, Sean, about the team is when they got into a hole 20-6, and after the Duke's fumble, return touchdown, they didn't panic at all. And they ended up cutting the lead by to 4 points at halftime off those turnovers. And I think Toronto had 6 sacks in the game, and they had 5 takeaways. And generally, when you do that, you're going to win games. And since I got you on here, Sean, what were your thoughts on Cameron Dukes in this game against BC Lions?
I thought he was great. I thought he was advertised. We spoke with him earlier in the week just about the nerves and what to expect. And, obviously he made starts last year. But I mean, it's a little bit easier to start in that position knowing that there is that you're not the number one guy and that, hey, if it's a loss, it's all right. I mean, they've already wrapped up the division. They knew that they were hosting the playoff game at home. So, even the pressure that maybe you put on yourself, there wasn't that outside pressure from fans, media, teammates, et cetera, et cetera. So I think he could just kind of go out there and just play his game. And he certainly did that last year. This year to start, week one as a new quarterback, I think he'd be lying if he said he wasn't nervous. But I mean, at the same time, I thought he was as advertised. He was great. He was calm, cool under pressure. He made his mistakes, and I think everyone knew that was bound to happen at some point. But it was the way that he rebounded from the mistakes, and to see him, lose that ball early in the first half, and then kind of recompose himself and go out there in the second half of football and ball out, which it was great. I mean, and that's got to bode well for the coaching staff. Ryan Dinwiddie calling the plays, Coach Mike Miller, the quarterback coach, giving him the tools, simplifying things, and just saying, hey, you're here for a reason and show us why you're here. So I thought he played really, really well, and I'm really excited to see what this young man has to offer this season.
We knew he had the talent, Sean, but from what I've seen from last year, his confidence and his composure in the pocket, and he knew when to scramble and when not to. And I didn't find he forced too many throws, and he sometimes took what was available by the defense.
Yeah, and I would completely agree with you. And I think, it's the old keep it simple, stupid method, right? Like he didn't take too many shots deep downfield, but he read the plays well and went through his progressions and found the open receivers. And sometimes at doing so, you've got to let your receivers make plays. And that's exactly what we did. I mean, you look at the Dejon Brissett touchdown, the Kadeem Carey touchdown too, right? It's, throw a little flat, throw an inside out, curl, let your best players be their best players and, work for those touchdowns and not to take anything away from Cam. But he did a great job of going through his progressions, finding the open guys and allowing them to do it, make some money.
It was a good team win. And I wanted to ask you too, Sean, Kadeem Carey, thoughts on his first game as a Toronto Argonaut?
I would say exciting. I mean, I think if you can get a healthy Kadeem Carey and have him run the way that he runs and being able to catch the ball in the backfield too, only bodes well for this team moving forward. It's, obviously it sucks the loss of AJ. He was a fan favorite, and I think everyone really wanted to see him back. But it's a next man up mentality, and I think Kadeem is fit right in. And really nice to see him being able to run the ball with some passion and finally get in the end zone as well. I know it's been a long time for him since he's found the back of the end zone, so it was nice to see.
And it's nice to have a balanced attack with the running game too. That way teams can't just tee off on your passing game. So I really like I actually like the play calling by the Argos, especially in the second half. It was a good mixture there, and I thought it was a good job. And when you score 35 points at home against a Grey Cup contender like BC, that's a good start to the season.
Yeah, no kidding. Right now, it's it's funny, right? I mean, there's always that extra motivation on week one, your home opener. You want to get the fans involved. You want to, set the table for what should be an exciting season. But I think now that we're off and running, let's see what happens and see how good this team can be.
Hey, Sean, who are some of the other Argos who stood out in this game, in your opinion, and who are some new players on this team that the fans who are watching or listening to should look out for from the 2024 Argonauts?
Well, I'll answer your first question. In terms of standouts, I think this is going to be a big year for Dejan Brissett, in my opinion. Young Canadian wide receiver. We saw kind of at the tail end of last year just how dominant and quick he is. And I think this year will be a breakout year for number 18. I'm really excited to see what he has to offer. You lose a Canadian wide receiver and Curly Gittens Jr. in the offseason for a trade. And this kind of now puts the onus on Dejan being that lead Canadian wide receiver, and I'm excited to see him run with it and the opportunities that he's going to have. So he stood out in my mind as being that number one guy last week. And I continue to look forward to seeing what he can do this year. And one guy that stood out for me, and if he didn't stand out for everyone else, I don't know what game you were watching, but number 94, Jake Serezna, I think this guy is going to be a fan favorite very, very quickly. He gets after the quarterback. He is quick, he is big, and he is elusive, and it's going to be fun to see with him, Flo, Brink, that whole defensive line, and that defensive unit as a whole, just how dominant they can be this season.
Just quick thoughts on Sean Oakman's time with the Toronto Argonauts.
Yeah, I mean, Oak, great guy. That's the problem with pro sports, right? It's you can't keep everyone, and if you could, you would for sure. Extremely happy to see the progression in Oak's career. I know that he's gone through a lot, whether it be collegiate and finally coming here to the CFL and being able to see him be a Grey Cup champion too. Awesome, super, super nice dude. And I think he'll be, fondly remembered by the fans here for giving everything that he has on and off the field.
And what I wanted to ask you now, Sean, is can you tell my audience about the Pride Night game coming up against the Edmonton Elks / Argos? Joking there. This Saturday night at BMO Field, and what the team and the in-game presentations are going to be about for Saturday night?
We can't let everything out of the bag. I mean, this is okay. We got to have the fans in there. But no, it's going to be a great night. I think we've got a lot of different stuff planned. Not exactly sure we're confirming details this week, but we'll have some stuff planned, and it'll be a party down there at BMO on Saturday, and it'll be fun to see some old faces and MBT and Curly and Javon Leake and who else I got there? Boris Beatty. Yeah, it's just like your little joke Javon you said. Leake. Yeah, like your joke you said there, right? So it's the Toronto Argos versus the Toronto Argos.
And Chris Jones, who was with the Argos too.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Everybody's looking at record 0-2, and then last year they were awful. But you know what? This Edmonton Elks team, with a couple of less miscues, could easily well be 2-0. And I think this game is going to be very competitive because I think the Elks have improved, but they have this habit of miscuing mistakes in the fourth quarter, and that's cost them a couple games so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been a kind of surprising start to the season too, right? I mean, I don't know how many people would have had Winnipeg start the season 0-2 as well. It's, but I mean, that's the beauty of the Canadian Football League, right? It's, I kind of say, expect the unexpected, to steal a line from the Big Brother show, but it's been fun to watch. I mean, even that Hamilton game over the weekend too, right? I mean, you're like, oh, this is going to overtime. Well, no, it's not. Here's an interception with 43 seconds to go, and just hand the game over to Saskatchewan, right? So. That's a beauty part about our game. It's like, I really don't think the game is over until you hear that final whistle, because pretty much anything can happen in 3-down football.
Absolutely. And I have to admit, I missed the second half, but it was 20-6. I think Hamilton at halftime, or 20-7. And credit Saskatchewan. And another former Argonaut we got to talk about quickly is Corey Mace. He seems to have those players buying into his system already after 2 games.
Yeah, no kidding. I was reading something today too. I think they said that they took a lot of penalties though, which is something that they've got to get under control. And I think for the start of the season, that's kind of status quo with every team. It's too many penalties, too many unforced errors. You're trying to do something different that doesn't necessarily work, or you're trying to get it to work. But Mace, when he was here, super nice guy. I think it was only a matter of time that we all kind of saw the writing on the wall that he was going to get a head coaching job one way or another. Sad to see him leave the team because I think he's a great defensive player and a great defensive coordinator. But at the same time, super happy to see him in Saskatchewan doing what he's doing.
Absolutely. Hey, out of all the former Argonauts on Edmonton this Saturday night, which one do you think might get the biggest ovation from the fan base?
That's a good question. I think it would probably be McLeod. Two-time Grey Cup champion here, super nice guy, and really embodied what it meant to be a Toronto Argonaut. I think at times he was unfairly treated by the fan base and the media for not being that guy, but when push comes to shove and the game's on the line, I mean, number 4 was able to do what he could do and get you in a chance to win the game, and obviously just a super nice guy away from the field, always very you'd always lend a hand with his time, if you want to do media, ask him questions, kind of sit with him in his locker room, poke about what the game is and what the plan is for the next week. But yeah, he was a leader on and off the field for the Double Blue. But I would expect if there's a big round of applause, it'll probably go to number 4, or previously number 4 for Toronto.
And like you said before, Sean, as media or even as a fan, it is a business nowadays, and unfortunately, some guys you can't keep everybody, but you hope they do well, except against the Argonauts. So I'm
Yeah,
hoping they all
exactly.
hoping to have a great game. Hey, Sean, for those who are watching this or listening to our show who've never been to a CFL game before or an Argos game at BMO Field, quickly, why should they come down to a game at BMO Field this season?
I mean, just for BMO, I honestly, I don't think there's a better venue to watch a CFL football game, in my opinion. You're right down by the water. It's nice and cool. Sometimes it's nice to be able to break the heat too, because you do get that lake effect wind, which is very nice. But at the same time, like, our fans, in my opinion, are second to none. I mean, they're extremely passionate. They're well informed about what's going on. And I know that sometimes we get, chirped on social media saying that, like, oh, we're your fans. It's whatever. Like, when our fans are there and they're there nightly, they are the best. And we put on a pretty good show down there at BMO. And hey, the team's pretty good too, right? So, and if you're looking to be a new fan of CFL football, or you're looking for a new team to cheer on, I highly recommend the Toronto Argonauts and coming down to BMO Field. $7 beers, $3 hot dogs, I think. Nice and cheap. Bring the family. Come down, watch some offense, watch the greatest team in the CFL. So there's your answer.
By the way, with the Celtics winning their 18th title, they're now tied with the Argonauts for the 3rd most championships in professional sports, behind the Yankees and the Dodgers. Or sorry, the Yankees and Montreal Canadiens.
Yankees, that's why you're the best CDP. You know these
Canadiens and now Argos.
Yeah, you know these little stats. I had no idea about that.
I just love history stuff like that. And one thing about the Argo fan base, doing media work or even coming as a season ticket holder, people know who you are. They come up and talk to you, and it's like a family environment there. And Mike Hogan always says it on his social media. It's like being a part of Argo's family, and I absolutely love it down there. And it's, as much as I love the National Football League, the CFL is just so much fan more fan oriented. Yes.
Family.
Yes. Absolutely.
No, you know what? It is great, and every time that we're there for a home game, it's it's amazing to see the same people that I've been seeing there since I started, and always going up and shaking hands and asking how everyone's doing, and you get to learn people's names, you get to learn people's sisters and brothers, moms, wives, husbands. And everyone kind of takes an interest in your life away from the field. So it is, for me, it's always great going down there, whether it be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, and seeing my football family. And you miss it during the off season, and when you get back, it's like nothing. You haven't missed a beat, and you're shaking hands and giving hugs and asking how everyone's doing and how the winter was, and you're excited to be back. And Hoagie's right. I mean, it's a family down there. It's great seeing, the people who have been there since day one. But at the same time, it's also very encouraging to see new fans when we're down there too. I think last year was a big indicator of that, with jersey sales and unleashing in New Jersey and seeing how popular it was and people buying it, and seeing the new fans that we've created down there at BMO on a nightly basis.
And we got a couple more minutes, Sean. Want to get your thoughts on this? Thoughts on quarterback Ricky Ray becoming the 27th all-time member of the all-time Argo group and being introduced on Friday, June 28th against the Alouettes, I believe.
Extremely well deserved. I mean, I don't know what you can say about Ricky Ray that already hasn't. He will go down as one of the best quarterbacks to ever play our game. Super great guy. Unfortunately, I never had the opportunity to be around when he was here. My introduction to Ricky was during the pandemic, and we did a quarterback roundtable, which was arguably the highlight of my career. I mean, I got to interview him, Joe Theismann, Connor Holloway, Joe Barnes. Who else was on that? I mean, the list goes on, but it was like a roundtable of all these guys, and it felt like you were in a locker room, and we were all just kind of, chatting about or I was letting them talk about the good old days and just trying to steer the ship and to ask a question here and there. But well deserved for Ricky. Honestly, probably even overdue. I think that guy probably should have just taken off his shoulder pads and walked right into the Hall of Fame and right up to the all-time Argos list. But it's going to be an exciting one in 2 weeks' time when we honor him, and it'll be great to see him and his family down there at BMO. So certainly excited for that.
Unfortunately, I won't be able to make that game because I'll be in Buffalo covering the Buffalo Bisons that weekend. But it's well deserved, and I think in the future, I'm hoping
you gotta get a crumble cookie when you're down there. I saw the post. You said it was too expensive. You got to get off the wall. Get off the wallet and buy yourself a crumble cookie if you're out there. Go do it, and then give us a scouting report on it.
They do have crumble cookies in Mississauga, by the way, now.
Oh, I'm nowhere near there.
Okay. I haven't tried it, but I will try it. But hey, I was going to say, I'm hoping eventually Chad Owens will be in the all-time Argo list as well. But I'm going to have to ask Mike Hogan one day how that process, how many people are involved in selecting guys who make the all-time Argos list.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. They've never asked my opinion for it, so I don't know. But I mean, I know that they do their homework. I think there's probably a long list of guys that they'd want to get up there. But I would agree with you. I think the Flying Hawaiian is fairly close to probably having his name etched in the history books of the Toronto Argos is going up there as one of the best ever.
Absolutely. Hey, Sean, I'm just going to wrap this up quickly. What are a couple of keys for an Argo win over the Edmonton Elks this Saturday night?
I think honestly, it's going to be pressuring the quarterback. We talked about McLeod, right? I mean, he's a great quarterback, but I mean, let's call a spade a spade. He's not the quickest, and he's not the youngest, right? So that front seven for the Argos, I think they're going to have to get after him often and early. And I look to guys like Flo and Brink and Jake to continue what they did from week one to have it carry over in week three. I think Cam, the same thing, simplifying the game, going through his progressions, don't force anything. Just continue to do what makes Cam. And and then the other thing, I think obviously special teams, right? I mean, Javon Lee coming back. I mean, he was, a firecracker last year for the team. Seemed like every game he was breaking one off to the house. I think being mindful of that. And then on the same side, I think the Argos got to get the kick return and punt return going as well.
I agree with you, Sean. I have the Argos winning this game 31-28. I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game, and I think it's going to come down to a field goal at the end of the.
Yeah, I don't think.
And finally, sorry, go.
No, I just have a feeling. I think it's going to be a shootout.
31-28. Hey, Sean, one thing, obviously the secondary, do you feel the secondary will get better as the season progresses as well?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I don't think you can read too much into, week one, whether it be a win or a loss, right? I mean, especially you've got, a quote unquote rookie quarterback under center. I think I'm not worried whatsoever about the receiving core. I think obviously we got to get Damani Coxie healthy too, Unger healthy as well. So once those guys are back playing, I think it'll sort itself and they should be fun.
Finally, what is a fun fact about Sean Bowen that Argo fans might not know about you?
Oh my God, you put me on the spot. I don't know if I have a fun fact about myself. Let me think. I don't know if I have a fun fact about me. I've never been asked that question before in my entire life. Maybe I'll tweet you. Maybe I'll tweet you a fun fact about me, but I don't know. No one's ever asked me if I have a fun fact about me. Maybe it's I enjoy, like, I love playing hockey. I love playing sports. I love being around my family and friends. But yeah, I'm a football junkie at heart. I can't get enough of it. I think it's the greatest game that's ever been invented. And yeah, that's my fun fact.
And yes or no, Packers are a playoff contender this year?
What a stupid question. Of course.
Do you feel Jordan
Love, baby? Yeah.
Do you feel they can compete with the Detroit Lions?
Of course.
Yeah.
CDP asked something harder than that, dude. Come on. Jordan Love's another year old, another year wiser. Dude, he's the best.
Absolutely. And finally, Sean, we're going to wrap this up. Where can my audience follow you on social media and the 18-time Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts? And again, I hope you and Alicia have a
Alicia.
Okay.
Yeah, appreciate it. But yeah, no, you can follow me at Bonesy24, BONSIE24. So that's where I am.
All right. Well, I'm going to be at the game Saturday night, but I'm going to go with a fan so I can actually have a beer in section 115.
Nice.
But I do appreciate the Argos giving me media opportunities as well. And the best way of learning something is getting hands-on and reps. And that's just like professional athletes as well.
Repetition is the father of learning, buddy.
All right, Sean. Well, thank you for giving us some time today. And we'll see you down at BMO Field Saturday night for the game against the Elks. And you have an open invite to come back on again as well.
Yeah, for sure. I want a full review on the crumble cookie, though. I was very disappointed when you posted that and you didn't even go and try it. I was like, what are you? Did you go all the way to Buffalo just to go and shut out crumble cookie and then not try it?
I'm going to this time. This time
okay.
I will.
Are you going before Saturday?
I'm going for my birthday, the end of June. My birthday is actually on the 9th.
Okay. I was going to say, if you're going before this Saturday's game, you better come back with crumble cookies for all of us.
One of these days I will. I'm in the States enough. One of these days I will. What's your favorite cookie then? What's your favorite?
I don't know. I've never had it. You didn't give me a review. That's what I'm saying. I want a full breakdown review, cost, what cookie to eat, what you liked about it, how it racked up to the other ones. I want a full review.
Deal. And also, what's one of the best beers to have? Have you tried the Left Field Brewery yet in Toronto?
No, I haven't. I'm working, man. I'm at the Argos game working. I'm not drinking. Come on.
Well, I'm gonna either have one at the game or one after. But hey, Sean, I'm gonna let you go. But hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing this today, and hopefully you can catch the Argo Bounce live audio show with Nick and myself tonight, and hopefully we'll have you on our show again at some point this season.
Sounds good, my guy. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Sean. Talk to you later. Go. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed Season 8, Episode 21 of Live with CDP Sports Talk. Today's guest, Sean Bowen, the in-game host and content producer and creator with the Toronto Argonauts. Sean also does some producing for the Toronto Maple Leafs home games at Scotiabank Arena. Sean is a huge Green Bay Packers fan, Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan as well, huge football fan. And Sean and his partner Alicia do a great job at BMO Field. If you want to go to the game, the Argos game this Saturday night, 7 o'clock kickoff at BMO Field, you can get tickets at argonauts.ca. If you can't get down to BMO Field like I am as a fan, you can watch the game on TSN or TSN 1050 with Mike Hogan and Ben Grant. Speaking of Toronto Argonauts, the Argo Bounce live audio show, season 3, episode 2, tonight at 8 o'clock with Nick Small and myself as we talk about the Argos. We're going to talk a little bit about the Argos game against the Elks, obviously, and preview their opponents. And a lot of former Argonauts are on the Edmonton Elks as well. So 8 o'clock tonight on all these major platforms for the Argo Bounce live audio show. And we're going to talk a little bit about the CFL and some news around there as well. And speaking of CFL, week 3 games, you got Ottawa, Montreal, BC at Winnipeg, Edmonton at Toronto Saturday night, which I'll be there as a fan. And then Sunday, you have a rematch of Hamilton, Saskatchewan, after Saskatchewan stunned Hamilton in a great comeback of 33-30 this past Sunday night at Tim Hortons Field. Can the Tiger Cats bounce back from that heartbreaking loss? And also, guys, we got Stanley Cup playoffs tonight, Game 5. Oilers, Panthers, Florida's up 3-1. Can Florida close it out at home and win their first Stanley Cup? Or can the Oilers make this a series and force a Game 6 as well? And also, the Boston Celtics defeated Dallas 106-88 to win their NBA Finals championship for the 18th time and their second championship after the Larry Bird era. So the Celtics now have the most championships in NBA history, 18, the Lakers have 17, and overall in professional sports, New York Yankees 27 World Series champions, Montreal Canadiens 24, and the Boston Celtics and the Toronto Argonauts have 18 as well. And Jaylen Brown was named the finals MVP as well. Before we wrap this up, guys, I was at the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame 2024 class ceremonies, and it was a great time there. And I'm going to play an interview I did with Sportsnet analyst for the Toronto Blue Jays, Buck Martinez, and also former catcher with the Blue Jays, Milwaukee Brewers, and the Kansas City Royals, Buck Martinez. And I hope you guys enjoyed this interview with Buck at the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame. And you can also subscribe and hit the like notification to Buck Martinez on winning the Jack Graney Award for broadcasting excellence in Canada and for his contributions to the game of baseball here in Canada as well.
The old rules.
Yeah, we didn't need any rules. We played fast. Pitchers set the tempo for the game. Nobody needed to have walk-up music. Nobody needed to have themes or brands. We just played baseball. Wanted to play quickly. And I caught a game, and Jim Clancy took a perfect game into the 9th inning. I think it was an hour and 48 minutes long. And it was the first game of a doubleheader. So we were probably out of the ballpark after 5 hours of baseball in 2 games. Mm-hmm. But I'm surprised it took so long. I thought the players would make adjustments to the shift, and they never did. They kept hitting into ground ball outs, and nobody made a shift. Had that been the case when Brett and Carew and Boggs and those guys would have played, they'd have hit 500 because they could hit the ball wherever they wanted to, much like Luis Ariz now. And I'm surprised it took changes. I'm glad for some of the changes. I hate the fact you can't bowl over a catcher. You can't break up a double play at second. Part of the game. That was a big, exciting play in the game. But we have dumbed down the game an awful lot now, and I don't think it's quite the same as it used to be.
And speaking of bowling over the catcher, I mean, one of the famous things is your broken leg, the double play. Do you still think about that play? Or, I mean, you see it every so often on YouTube.
It's really interesting. I actually had that play in my first game as a major leaguer against the Minnesota Twins, the same play. Rod Carew got a base hit to left field, Lou Piniella. Bob Allison was a base runner at second base. He ran me over at home plate, and I threw the ball to third base and it kept the runner from advancing, but it was the same play. I lost consciousness. I woke up, they gave me smelling salts, and I hit a home run my next at bat, my first big league home run.
Oh, wow.
And nowadays I'd have been on the 7-day concussion list.
Yes, absolutely. Well, again, congratulations on the award here, and it's always nice and pleasure to listen to you on Blue Jays broadcast. Keep going.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Buck, congratulations.
Thank you.
I was a Blue Jay fan in the late 70s, and I went to my Exhibition Stadium. Buck, what are your memories of coming to Toronto in 1981 and Exhibition Stadium? And the best rivalry in baseball between the Jays and the Tigers in the 80s?
Yeah, I mean, when I first came to Toronto, it was an opportunity for me to play again. I was in Milwaukee, and I was the fourth-string catcher, so anywhere I got a chance to play was going to be welcome. And I'm really saddened that the Tigers and the Blue Jays don't have that same rivalry we had in the 80s. There was nothing quite like going to Tiger Stadium when half of Ontario was rooting for the Tigers and the other half was rooting for the Blue Jays. And we would have 45,000 people at Tiger Stadium, and it was great. Wonderful atmosphere, very competitive. 83, 84, and 85, we had maybe the best division in baseball. There were 7 teams that were all very competitive, and the Blue Jays and Tigers were banging heads for a long time. But I miss that rivalry. I think a lot of the fans miss that rivalry, and hopefully one day when we get back to realignment, they'll reconsider bringing the Blue Jays and Tigers in the same division.
I wanted to ask you about your father. It's Father's Day weekend, and I just wondered, was it your father that introduced you to the game of baseball, and what type of influence did he have on your life?
Yeah, my father had a lot to do with it. He actually moved the family from Reading, so we'd have a better chance at athletics and sports in general. But my mom had a lot to do with it because she was from a family of 13.
Oh, wow.
And she had a lot of brothers that were athletes. She was Native American from Northern California, and all her brothers were great athletes. So she would throw me batting practice, and she would play catch with me all the time as a 4- and 5-year-old. So yeah, both my mother and my father were very instrumental in allowing me to play. And Father's Day weekend is pretty special because we'll be back at the Rogers Center, and it's also my wife's birthday on the 16th, so it's going to be a special day for everybody.
Oh, wow. So what's your dad's first name and your mom's first name?
My dad's John, and that's my name.
Yes.
And then my mom Shirley, and they were both veterans of World War II.
Oh.
My mom was in the Women's Army Corps, and my dad was a carrier that went to France and Normandy.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow.
How much does this Jack Rainey Award mean to you? And do you remember your first broadcast with TSN, I believe in 1987?
Yeah, the Jack Rainey Award is pretty special because Jack and I both were former players that moved into the broadcast booth, and I know he was the first former player to become a play-by-play announcer for the Cleveland Indians. And like Jack, I had broadcast a lot longer than I played, and I don't think we either thought that was going to be the case. But as far as my first broadcasts, there have been so many of them over the years that I can't particularly think of one, but I can remember one of my first interviews. And my producer, Rick Briggs-Jude, told me, go get a guy you're friendly with and a guy that you know to do an interview with. So I was playing the White Sox at the time, and I went over and got Harold Baines. And Harold was a nice guy and a wonderful friend, and I thought, well, this would be a nice guy. He'll be gentle on me. But I had forgotten that Harold doesn't like to talk. So when I would ask him, hey, Harold, how you doing? How's your spring going? Fine. You having a good spring? Yes. And it was terrible. So I learned quickly that when you get somebody to interview, find somebody that likes to talk about themselves. It's a much more interesting interview.
I know they won. So yeah, congratulations, bud.
Good to see you, Buck.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's okay.
Sure.
You can hold it or put it on your lapel.
I'll put it right here. I've done that before.
Played in the old.
Needed to.
That clip was courtesy of my YouTube channel. Again, I want to say thank you to Scott Crawford, Director of Operations at the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame at 386 Church Street in St. Mary's, Ontario, for having me up as media again for the second straight year. If you've never been to the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame or visited St. Mary's, Ontario, which is southwest of Stratford, I would highly recommend it, and check out their website, baseballhalloffame.ca. baseballhalloffame.ca, and the Baseball Hall of Fame in Canada is at 386 Church Street in St. Mary's, Ontario. It's just a little over an hour drive from Guelph to St. Mary's, and about 40 minutes from London as well. So it's located in the heartbeat of Southwest Ontario. And again, congratulations to the class of 2024. Former Blue Jay and Yankee left-handed pitcher Jimmy Key, Russell Martin from East York, Ontario, Buck Martinez was introduced as a Jack Graney Award winner for his contributions to baseball in Canada. And Buck is one of the nicest guys. And his son Casey was there as well. And I had the pleasure of talking to Casey Martinez for about 15 minutes. And Buck is really one of the most down-earth, humble guys out there. Rod Hisler, I did an interview with him. He had a long career with Baseball Canada and international play with Canada. I did an interview with him, a nice man, and I hope you can check out my interview with Rod Hisler on my YouTube channel, Chris Palme Live with CDP Sports Talk, and hit that subscribe notification. The former chairman of Metro Toronto, Paul Godfrey, who was instrumental of bringing Major League Baseball and the Toronto Blue Jays to Toronto in Canada in 1977, nearly got the Giants. So check out Paul Godfrey's speech that I recorded from the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame on my YouTube channel. Paul did a lot for baseball in Toronto and helped renovate Exhibition Stadium from 74 to 75, retro fitting it to baseball as well. Also, Howard Burney, who's been involved with baseball in Toronto for over the umpire, coach, and executive, was introduced into the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame class of 2024. And Ashley Stevenson, who's considered the greatest female women's baseball player in Canada, the native of Mississauga, Ontario, Ashley Stevenson, was on there as well. So you can check out a lot of my content on my YouTube channel. And again, you can check out the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame in St. Mary's, Ontario. It's a beautiful drive there. And Scott Crawford and everybody, his staff and volunteers, did a great job there as well. All right, guys. My next live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, sponsored by BarryCullen.com. It's going to be on Friday, June 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern with my special guest, Lissa Crawford. She is a certified mental fitness resilience coach, and she's also a part of the national board. She's nationally board certified in health and wellness coach, and she has her own company, and you can check out her website at intentionalability.com as well. So Lissa Crawford will be on, and we're going to talk mental health. We'll talk about mindset, and we're going to talk about her career in coaching people as well. I'm excited about that. And also, guys, the Argo Bounce live audio show, episode 2 tonight, 8 o'clock with Nick Small and myself. We're going to break down the CFL Week 2 games and preview the Argos' upcoming game against the Edmonton Elks with a lot of former Argonauts this Saturday night at BMO Field. Finally, guys, if you're looking for your forever friend and pet, check out the Cambridge District Humane Society at 1650 Dunbar Road in Cambridge, Ontario, 519-623-7722, or visit their website at cambridgehumanesociety.org. All the dogs, cats, rabbits profiles are there as well. And they're also doing a 50-50 monthly draw there. And you can get your ticket either at 1650 Dunbar Road in Cambridge, or again, their website, cambridgehumanesociety.org. And I will be volunteering this week as a dog walker. And I really think they do a lot of great work down at the Cambridge District Humane Society. Also, guys, live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show is hosted by yours truly, Chris Palme, is on weeknights from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern on WQEE 99.1 FM, the key, the home of Southern sports and talk, the heartbeat of Atlanta. Our radio station's website is wqeefm.radio12345.com. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show is live streamed on these platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter /X, Twitch, LinkedIn, and now available on Instagram. And also, guys, I am on cameo.com. If you'd like a personalized video message from yours truly, CDP, or you want birthday wishes or ask me a question about my radio or my media work, book a cameo video from yours truly, and the proceeds go to my radio and media work as well. So again, Chris Palme on cameo.com. Make sure you book your video today. Also, guys, I have my own website. You can check it out at beacons.ai, beacons.ai/Chris D. Palme. All my media work, radio shows, my content is on beacons.ai/Chris D. Palme. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, again, is sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out barrycullen.com for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, or give them a call at 519-824-0210, or email them at info@barrycullen.com. And I want to say thank you to Mark Cullen and Barry Cullen Chevrolet for sponsoring the show since September 2022. And I'm also looking for more local businesses to come aboard live with CDP Sports Talk and Entertainment Show. If you're interested in being a sponsor of this show, you can contact me through cpame19@gmail.com, or through my digital business card, or DM me on my social media sites. But I am looking for more local sponsors, local businesses and sponsors for live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. Also, guys, you can follow me on TikTok at Live with CDP. Yes, I've been on TikTok for just under 4 years. And if you want to check me out there, hit the follow notification. I post a lot of content, a lot of interviews on there, and at Live with CDP. And I want to say thank you to my 2,250 followers on TikTok. StreamYard is the official live stream provider of Live with CDP Sports Talk. If you're into webinars or podcasting, check out StreamYard.com. And they also have business plans, and just contact the sales department through StreamYard.com. I've been with StreamYard just for under 4 years, and they are a very good live streaming service as well. Live Sport Entertainment Talk Show. The audio version is available on iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, Spotify for podcasters, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Spotify, Castbox, LinkedIn, Pandora, Tuned In, and again now on YouTube Music. As of June 23rd, there will be no more Google Podcasts, so my show will be on YouTube Music. So make sure you subscribe to Live with CDP on YouTube Music. Finally, you can email or text Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show at cpame19@gmail.com, or you can text the show at 519-820-7188. And again, I want to say thank you to my guest, Sean Bowen from the Toronto Argonauts, for coming on here today. And I want to thank everyone watching this live streamed and on audio, and also on WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia. And before we wrap this up, guys, again, we have Stanley Cup playoffs. Game 5 tonight. Oilers coming off a 8-1 thrashing of the Panthers in Game 4 at the Rogers Place Arena in Edmonton. Florida Panthers are still one game win from winning the Cup. Can they get it done tonight in Game 5 at home in Miami, or will the Oilers make this a series and force the Panthers? Need to close this out tonight. If they don't, I don't like their chances of going back to Edmonton in that rowdy crowd and winning Game 6. So for me, it's going to be huge for the Panthers. And again, the NBA Finals are finished. Boston won 5 over Dallas in 5 games. Boston really dominated that series. Other than Dallas's Game 4 blowout win, Boston was pretty much in control of that series. So congratulations to the city of Boston, their 13th World Championship in that city and state of Massachusetts since 2001. The Patriots have 6 Super Bowls since 2001. The Red Sox have 4 World Series championships since 2001. The Celtics now have 2 championships recently, 2008 and 2024. And the Boston Bruins, who now own the longest championship drought in Boston, have won 1 cup since 2001, back in 2011 against the Vancouver Canucks. So the Bruins now have the distinct pleasure of having the longest championship drought in the city of Boston. And that's about it, guys. Again, I hope you guys can tune into the Argo Bounce live audio show with Nick Small and myself tonight at 8 o'clock as we talk Argonauts football, a little bit about CFL Week 2 since the Argos were on a bye, and preview this week's games, the Argos and Elks, and the other games too, with Ottawa, Montreal, BC Winnipeg, and Hamilton and Saskatchewan. Again, I want to say thank you to Sean Bowen for the Toronto Argonauts for coming on today, and we'll see you guys back here tonight at 8 o'clock with Nick Small for the Argo Bounce live audio show, and my next live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show Friday, June 21st at 7 p.m. with my guest, Belle Lisa Bellissa Crawford, a mental health, fitness, wellness coach out of South Carolina as well. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Make sure you stay cool here in Southern Ontario where the temperatures are in the 90s, and we'll see you back here tonight for the Argo Bounce Live audio show. And Friday night, Michael Lefford.